Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face and welcome to another edition of this Ferrari challenge that we have going on. Today we're going to be doing a 2-race episode, so there's going to be 2 races in this episode. If you want to get to the races and whatnot, you head to the description. It will give headers for each race and the times of when races and qualifying start for both races. Otherwise, if you want to listen to me talking for a little bit, go ahead and listen, because last time out we had pretty much the worst result of the season so far in Montreal at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Vettel, yes, it was on the second lap, Vettel tried to dive up the inside of Raikkonen, actually hit his rear wing. Vettel knocked his own front wing off, took the rear wing of Raikkonen off, destroyed the race pretty much. Vettel managed to recover up to 7th. Raikkonen meanwhile recovered to 12th outside the points. That leaves us at the moment now only 43 points ahead of Mercedes, which is a 1-2 finish, and us finishing outside the points. That's possibly not going to happen, but if we have another incident between Vettel and Raikkonen, then Mercedes have a great chance of catching up. As for the driver standings, Vettel is still 83 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Last time out as well, we went ahead after a prolonged period of talking about it since possibly the first episode of the game, since this was always the plan of bringing Mick Schumacher into the team, just whether he would be the number 2 or the reserve driver. He has come in as a reserve driver. As I discussed in the last episode, I didn't think the realism factor would be there if he got the number 2 seat. He is actually just too young at the moment. You do need to be 18 to get an F1 seat, and he doesn't have the required experience. He's got a couple of Formula 4 seasons under his belt, which, as in game time at the moment, he hasn't actually completed those series, and he doesn't have the required super license points to actually get an F1 seat. So hopefully he's going to be in the reserve seat for 2017. He is going to be doing the practice session in Singapore, so we're going to be able to see how quick he is. He's only rated 3 stars at the moment, so I'm not going to be expecting him to be that quick, but it will be a good indicator of where he is at in the Ferrari car. But signing away Mick Schumacher from Mercedes threw the driver market into absolute chaos the day after. Mercedes took Carlos Sainz from Toro Rosso, took him out of his seat there. He is a reserve driver at Mercedes now, behind Rosberg and Hamilton. So I'm guessing if Rosberg leaves at the end of the season, his contract is up, whether he does leave Mercedes or whether they do sign into another contract. But in the long run, Sainz will possibly be getting a Mercedes seat at some point. The cost of the deal is rumoured to be eye-poppingly high, with a figure of 16 million being bandied about. If that's over 3 years, 16, no, it's not that much, is it really? Compared to what some of the drivers get at $1 million a race over 3 years. Like Hamilton in this game is on 1.1, which would give him over 50 million in that same period. Grosjean replaced Sainz at Toro Rosso, so he's in a better seat because he's in the Haas car, which isn't doing as good as it did in the 2016 season in real life. Kvyat then took over, left Toro Rosso as well, so Toro Rosso actually ended up losing both their drivers. Kvyat moved the opposite direction to Haas. We got a scouting report on Mitch Evans. He's not as good as I thought he would be. He can get up to just under 4 stars. I was hoping his potential was going to be a little bit better than that, Mitch Evans. But then Toro Rosso replaced Kvyat with Jolyon Palmer from Renault. So whether that's a good move, we'll get to see how good Palmer is in a slightly better car than what the Renault is at the moment. Marcus Ericsson moved to Renault then from Sauber, but he hasn't actually got a seat. He is a reserve driver because let's just try and get to Renault here. Instead of putting Ericsson in the number 2 seat, they've gone with Jorda. So they've got Magnussen and Jorda. So Renault are going to be quite a lot worse off here now, because I think Jorda's around about a 3-star rated driver. And then Sauber took our cast off. They took Jean-Eric Vergne in their seat. So Sauber have now got our old reserve driver. So everything being totally shaken up here. As we can see, Toro Rosso got 2 new drivers for the next race. Renault have an inexperienced driver in Jorda going in their car. Vergne will be driving in the Sauber. Sainz, it says Sainz Mercedes here, but he's a reserve driver at the moment. Yeah, he's listed there because he's actually scored points this season for the Toro Rosso. So all change here around the bottom half of the table. A lot of teams going for new drivers already. And I expect when we go ahead and steal Perez from Force India, that's going to shake up the driver market once again, and it's going to go crazy again at the end of the season. So it'll be fun to see at that point what it's going to be like. At the moment, we're still building this gearbox. Whatever, it's not going in the car this season, it's just going to be there for next season. But what we've got coming up is we've got Singapore coming up, the Marina Bay Street Circuit. There's not as many corners here as in real life. There's about 20, is it 24 in the actual Singapore Grand Prix? I think there's only about 11 or so in this track here in the game. Also, we're going to be doing Melbourne today. It's a little bit more complicated than the actual Melbourne circuit. There's all this little weird section in here and then a big switch back here. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do with Ferrari around these tracks. But we're going to go ahead now, get towards race day. We do have a sponsorship slot open here, but we're going to wait because at the end of the season, once we bring Perez in, we are going to be able to get 5-star sponsors instead of 3-star sponsors. So we're going to wait for that point until we bring in any more sponsors. So we're going to go ahead now and get towards the race, and we'll come back when it's time for qualifying, and once we've done practice, and we'll get to see how Schumacher managed to do in the car for the first time. So Schumacher not too bad in practice there, 6th, which is where we would be expecting him. It is where Raikkonen usually comes, although a couple of these cars behind the Williams and Palmer doing quite well in the Toro Rosso. They did it on a slower tyre, but possibly enough further back that Bottas possibly could have got in front of Schumacher. But yeah, but the Mercedes really quick around this track, almost a second quicker than Ferrari. So as I keep saying, we're possibly going to struggle against Mercedes. It doesn't always turn out that way, but the Mercedes really quick around this track. We're only a little bit quicker than the Red Bull, so this might be quite a tough race here. But we're going to jump into qualifying now, and we'll come back when it's time for a flying lap. Right, so Vettel and Raikkonen are on their hot laps now. As usual, we've got Raikkonen in front here of Vettel, so Raikkonen goes out first, Vettel follows him up. So Raikkonen just behind there. I don't know who's setting the quickest lap at the moment. Who's setting the quickest lap? Ricciardo in the Red Bull. So Raikkonen just a little bit behind him, and Vettel's a little bit behind him as well. Although Raikkonen's just done the quickest second sector, but gets overtaken then as Vettel does this quickest second sector. So where are we going to be here? Raikkonen's actually ahead here. Is Raikkonen actually ahead of the Red Bull? So Raikkonen actually goes quicker than Ricciardo there. We've got Vettel coming round. Vettel goes quicker than Raikkonen. Where's Verstappen going to be? Verstappen is here. Is Verstappen going to get any higher than us? No, Verstappen goes first. So we actually beat both Red Bulls there. I thought we might be struggling against the Red Bull, so that's quite a good result. So let's just check in with Hamilton, who set the quickest first sector here by quite a margin there. Although he goes a little bit slower in the second sector, but still sets the quickest second sector of the race. Hamilton looks like he's got pole pretty easily here. No, Hamilton messes it up in the last sector there and goes slower than Vettel. And Rosberg coming around, he's not setting the quickest first sector, although he'd have to go a lot slower than Hamilton. I got quicker than Hamilton to get that, should I say. Where's Rosberg going to be here? Rosberg goes 5th. So Rosberg pretty far down the order there, so we're doing a lot better than I was expecting there in qualifying. So let's just see if we can keep on to those spots when we come out again for our last qualifying lap, and we'll come back when we're about to set those times. Right, so we're out for this last lap now. We're trying to keep Vettel on pole here. He was quicker than Hamilton off that first lap by the slimmest of margins. Raikkonen as well looking to hold on to third here from the Red Bulls and the Mercedes of Rosberg, although he's going quite a bit slower here. Although yeah, he's quite a bit slower than his actual first lap as well. So pretty bad first sector there from Raikkonen. I don't know whether he's been held up by the Force India here. He's quite a bit slower here, so Raikkonen isn't going to improve on his time. Vettel was quicker in the first sector, slower in the second, slower in the third sector as well, so he sets a slower lap as well. Ricciardo is coming round. He did a faster lap, but didn't improve on his position. What's everyone else doing? Rosberg's finished as well. Hamilton's finished as well. No one improved on the laps there, so we've held on to our first and third place here, so pretty decent qualifying there from Raikkonen. That's possibly one of the best that he's done. Vettel on first again, doing quite a bit better than I thought we would be able to do around this Marina Bay circuit. I thought after practice we were going to really struggle against the Mercedes. Maybe they're holding something back for the race here. So what do we need to do? We're going to go super soft maybe. We'll just fill them out. We know we're definitely going to have to go medium with Raikkonen here, because this race is 23 laps. can do 6, 8 and 10. So that's only 24, so we'd have to use one of each tyre compound if we wanted to use a quicker tyre. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start out on the super soft, we're going to switch to medium, and then we're going to finish the race on the soft. So we're going to do more laps on the medium. Yeah, we'll keep Raikkonen with the boost for the medium, we'll keep Vettel with the boost for the super soft, and then we can just see what sort of difference we can get between them. That way Raikkonen doesn't hopefully get in front of Vettel again and have Vettel hit Raikkonen. That's the worst thing that could happen. There's the same tyre boost, same tyre length out of both drivers here, which is unusual as Raikkonen usually can't get as much out of a tyre as Vettel. But they're both on a 6, 8, 10. So that is not too bad there. We're just going to go normal. We're going to just push from the off with the tyres, but we're going to try to keep them in the optimum temperature here throughout this race. Hopefully we can get a good start here. Keep Vettel in front of the Mercedes here. We don't want them catching up too much, otherwise they might have a chance of catching us in the Constructors' Championship. Vettel off the line, off to a stormer there. Raikkonen looks like he's let Ricciardo through, as does Hamilton. Ricciardo's got ahead of Hamilton there, so hopefully that's going to work out for us. In that is that Bottas as well. Bottas has made a great start up into 4th place there as Raikkonen starts dropping down the order here. He's battling away with Rosberg. Rosberg gets on the outside of him, and now he's got the Force India of Perez, the man who will be taking his seat next season, getting at the back of him, whereas Vettel's getting a nice little bit of a gap away from Ricciardo here. We can go ahead and possibly just need to get these tyres heated up a tiny little bit more before we decide to turn them down a little bit. So maybe we can run these in medium now that they're up at optimum temperature. Just try and get as much life out of this super soft tyre that we can. And then maybe at the end of the race we can go back to the super soft after doing that middle stint on the mediums, if we can go ahead and keep these tyres nice and fresh. As it is, it looks like Ricciardo's starting to come back. Is he pushing a bit? Oh no, he's running about the same as us. But he is actually gaining on Vettel a tiny little bit. Maybe that's because he's got Hamilton up his backside pushing him. Raikkonen is currently still stuck behind Bottas with Verstappen on his tail. So we just need Raikkonen to try and get past Bottas here. His tyres, he's doing a little bit of a better job with his tyres than Vettel is. Vettel's tyres are wearing away a little bit more. Ricciardo is coming back at Vettel pretty rapidly now, or not pretty rapidly, but he's making a little bit of ground on him at the moment, but not too much that it's going to worry us at the moment. Although it is worrying that he's managing to do a little bit better than Vettel. Although he should be, because the Red Bull is a slightly better car than ours still at the moment, and Vettel and Ricciardo are possibly just about equal in terms of driver rating in this game. Possibly Vettel's a tiny little bit better. Well, it looks like, is Ricciardo turning down here? No, Ricciardo dropped to... got within 1.2 and then went down to 1.6. Raikkonen is still struggling to get past Bottas here. The Williams car looks pretty strong around this circuit, pretty quick. In that, Raikkonen is struggling to get past him, although these tyres are getting pretty hot now that we can possibly turn them down if we wanted to. We are going to get the length out of them that we wanted, but can we stretch them for another lap if we could do? Could we stretch them for another lap? Are we going to lose too much time if we run in conserve mode? Is Raikkonen going to start dropping behind Bottas and lose that place to Verstappen? It does look like that could be the case, doesn't it? But we do want these tyres to cool down a little bit. They're outside. Let's just see here. Let's try cool them down a little bit. Let's just see if we can go. We're not going to get past Bottas, but maybe if we cool these down and when he pits for a slower tyre, maybe we can try pull up a little bit more time than what he's going to lose through that tyre. Let's just see if we can cool that down a little bit more than what it is. Because it looks like it's quite a hard course to overtake on. So we've already got the Red Bulls coming in. So maybe when they come in for the slower tyre, we can just really burn rubber on this tyre. So if Ricciardo's going to come in here, we might be able to get one lap in. Almost attacking. 10%, is that enough to do this lap in? We're possibly going to go a lot lower on the tyre than what we wanted. But it's not going to be too bad. Raikkonen defending from Verstappen. And as I thought, Bottas and Verstappen are now coming in. We've got tons of tyre left here for Raikkonen. Maybe we could get 2 on push mode from this tyre. Vettel now, we need There's not much of a gap needed because we cut out some of the track with this, so we don't quite need the 22-second gap I need. I don't think. Ricciardo is pretty close at the moment, so maybe it doesn't need to be that much. And we're gonna have to bring Vettel in this lap, aren't we? We're going medium. Did Ricciardo come in for medium? Yes, Ricciardo came in for medium, so we're going to go medium as well. Should we risk fast? Should we risk fast? We're going to come out second. That's because Hamilton's still out at the moment. Oh, let's not risk it. Let's not risk it. Let's just see if we can get back out in front of Ricciardo here. Because we've possibly slowed down quite a bit due to the tyres going. Let's run in overtake mode into the pit. Around this corner. We'll go high again, high to get some temperature back in these tyres. Looks like we might lose position to Ricciardo here. Ricciardo's done a storming lap there on the medium, so we're going to lose position to Ricciardo. Possibly stayed out a lap too long there, as we possibly have done with Raikkonen as well. His tyres have gone as well. We just try to stretch it enough that we can get back in for a pair of super softs at the end of the race. And Rosberg got in front of us as well, so Rosberg had a couple of storming laps there as well. Somehow, so let's... we've got these tyres are pretty warm now, aren't they? Right, so... Raikkonen leading, gets overtaken by a few of these cars. His tyres are wearing out. Oh dear. Sorry Raikkonen, he's definitely going to come out behind Bottas. We tried to push it that we could try and get the jump on Bottas. Didn't quite work out for us there. Let's go back high mode here. Vettel's still got quite a lot of fuel in this car as he gets past Rosberg now, although Hamilton's made a move as well, and Rosberg's getting back in front again. So the Mercedes now in front of us, and Raikkonen's had a mistake with his pit stop as well. So yeah, we're behind Bottas still, although quite a way behind Bottas, aren't we? Oh dear. Right, so let's push a little bit on these mediums. Let's try and conserve a tiny little bit with these tyres as well. Coming up to the back markers as well. Again, we're still on the back of Rosberg here. Vettel's still battling with Rosberg, who is conserving his tyres as well. It looks like everyone's trying to conserve these tyres a little bit. Raikkonen went a lap longer on this tyre, is now catching back up with Bottas. Let's just say, yeah, Jordan in the Renault having a nightmare time at the moment. Obviously the worst rated driver in F1 now at the moment. Vern is just a tiny little bit better. He's in the Haas. No, he's in the Sauber. Is Vern? He's down for Sauber. Jordan in the Renault. Let's see how Grosjean and Palmer in the Toro Rosso are doing, just outside the points at the moment. Vettel still on the back of Rosberg here. His medium tyres seem to be lasting quite a long time here. Raikkonen now in 7th. That's because Hulkenberg came into the pits. We're still catching Bottas here, but we're going to have to try turn these tyres down a little bit now. We're going to try conserve these. We do want them to last as long as the tyres of Vettel and Kurt are doing. Doesn't seem like we're losing too much time here, but Ricciardo obviously is pulling away at the front. Hamilton getting away from Vettel and Rosberg. Although Rosberg and Hamilton now have gone into medium with their tyres, although Rosberg's having to conserve some fuel here. So maybe we can try and come back at him whilst he's trying to conserve some fuel. See if we can get right on the back of him here. He's probably going to turn back up though. And he does so. Let's go back to medium. We need to cool these tyres down a little bit more with Raikkonen. We're slowly catching Bottas, but not quick enough where I think that we're going to be able to pass him without undercutting him on a pit stop. Or just try to get through him through the pits. Vettel meanwhile under a second behind Rosberg now. I'm hoping we can get through enough with this tyre that we can go on to super soft for the end of the race. We do have 10 laps remaining, so round to the end of this lap and then 3 more, which seems doable, and then we can go on the super soft until the end of the race, which might give us an advantage. Rosberg's got just popped up with a problem on his car there. Raikkonen, meanwhile, has finally got past Bottas. Has Bottas come into the pits already? Bottas has made an early pit stop. He's really gone through a tyre there, and he's gone for another medium. Whereas we're going to go for a quicker tyre towards the end of this race. So maybe we can push on this tyre now. Maybe we can get a little bit of distance back for Raikkonen and try get through Bottas through a pit stop. Rosberg still has a problem with his car, but Vettel's still struggling to pass him here. 2 more laps. Can we do 2 more laps on this medium tyre and then fit the super soft? Hopefully we can do. Yeah, it does look like that's easily possible. We've got a lot of tyre left here with Raikkonen as well that we can possibly attack on these tyres of Raikkonen's. So when is Rosberg going to pit? Are all the top cars going to... Ricciardo's gone for the slower soft tyre. Although we don't have enough distance to beat him through the pits here. Because we are on a slower tyre at the moment. Rosberg is coming in this lap, as are we. But we can actually go with the super soft from this point out. Shall we try a fast pit stop and see if we can beat Rosberg in the pits? Is Hamilton coming in this lap as well? It looks like Hamilton's going to stay out, and his tyre's pretty worn, so we might be able to get past Hamilton here as well, even. Because the Mercedes aren't going to double stack with Rosberg behind. We're going to have a good pit stop, and we get out in front of Rosberg as well there. Absolutely brilliant. Let's try and get some little bit of tiny heat in these tyres. Raikkonen, meanwhile... Oh, I've missed the pit stop. Concentrating on Vettel there. Oh, you. Numpty. Right. Oh, dear. Too busy concentrating on Vettel there. Sorry, Raikkonen. Hopefully there's the thing that's going to give... I think that's going to give Massa now enough time to catch up, isn't it? Could do. Massa's quite a long way behind here for some reason. Why is it... No, it's not Massa, is it? Bottas. What am I doing? I'm looking at the wrong driver as well. But we're going on to the super soft, so hopefully we can pick up some time as well. Obviously, we're not going to get 6 because Verstappen's right on the back after making his 2 pit stops. We can push on this super soft tyre. This tyre of Vettel's is quite hot. We've got... Hamilton made his pit stop as well, so we got back in front of the Mercedes here with Vettel. We're quite a way behind Ricciardo, no chance of really catching him. So let's try and conserve this tyre a little bit. Raikkonen did actually get out in front of Bottas here. Bottas, that must have been slowed up by Hulkenberg. So that's worked out quite well for us. Obviously Hulkenberg's got to come into the pits as well. We're so far behind Verstappen that we can't catch him, so Raikkonen looks like he's got another 6th place here. His favourite 6th place. I think he's finished in 6 in... Yeah, he'll have finished in 6 in quite a few races. In Rosberg must have had a problem with his car that he's had to come in and fix because he's come into the pits again. This time fitting the medium tyre. He mustn't have any other tyre compounds left, I would guess. Vettel, meanwhile, complaining that his tyres are degrading pretty badly. Well, he should have enough to get through to the end of the race. We do have some room to push in overtake mode if needs be, if Hamilton does end up getting a little bit too close for comfort. Raikkonen, meanwhile, is on the border of this fuel. He keeps going up between 0.06 and 7. We don't have to worry about him, although we're getting close to... We were getting close to Rosberg, but that's because he came into the pits. Vettel, meanwhile, does have Hamilton really close here. Are we going to be able to hold Hamilton off? Obviously, he's on a fresher pair of super softs here, is Hamilton. Can we hold him off for second? We're not going to be able to do what with Raikkonen. He's got a long way to Rosberg. He's got a long way behind him to Bottas. That we can just sort of look after these tyres, just sort of leave him alone now. And concentrate on Vettel, that we don't actually end up letting Hamilton through here. Doesn't look like Vettel's going to do that. We've only got 1.5 laps to go here, and we can push for the last half lap in overtake mode. Although it doesn't look like we're going to even need to do that because Hamilton is falling a little bit behind here, although we're hitting some back markers now which could affect the outcome of the race. Although we're on the back of Ricciardo here, we're just catching Ricciardo up. We've got pretty much on the back of Ricciardo here. He's going in low mode on his soft tyres, which have got enough to get through to the end of the race for some reason. Right, so can we go overtake mode here? Can we get right on the back of him for the end of the race? We don't have the time to overtake him, although we're gaining pretty rapidly. It's just one more corner to go here. We're going to hit the fuel limiter. We are. We're going to have to go high mode here. Don't want to run out of fuel just before the line, do we? Whereas Raikkonen's going to have to go medium to get just around. Oh, not too bad there. Only just behind Ricciardo there. I think that's Ricciardo's second win of the season. Red Bull's second win of the season. I think that ties Red Bull up with Mercedes win-wise. Not point-wise, though. And Raikkonen comes across the line. He's 6th place. Not a bad result all around there. 2nd and 6th. World keepers ahead in the Constructors' Championship. So, not too bad of a result there. Obviously, Rosberg had a problem with his car and he had to drop him down the order, having to make an extra pit stop. Live timings here, 1:29. Hamilton the quickest around this track. So what does that do to the driver standings now? Shouldn't be enough. We could possibly confirm Vettel as champion. No, he's 86 points ahead. Oh, it's going to be close after the next race whether we can confirm Vettel champion after the next race. He's 80 points ahead. Ricciardo's actually jumped ahead of Hamilton here. Oh, it's so close now. There's 3 races left. No, that does actually confirm Vettel as champion. There's only 75 points on offer now for finishing every race in 1st place, which means Vettel, after this race, is now the Formula 1 champion for 2016. So congratulations, Sebastian Vettel, on winning the title. We're just 44 points ahead now of Mercedes. We only gained 1 point on them in that last round. It's going to be a little while longer before we can be confirmed champions. There's still a chance that Mercedes could catch us. Although with how poorly Mercedes have been doing, it is an outside chance. So we're just going to see here if Schumacher's improving quite a bit. He's got some nice improvement stats there. So hopefully we can get Schumacher up into the nearly 5-star level at some point. Well, it might take a while for him to get there. We do have the bonus this time, so we're not just breaking even this time. We do have some nice money coming in. So we've got Melbourne coming up soon. In 10 days. Looks like we've got a scouting report done as well. Rosberg sets steering pace. Vettel pits Hamilton to pole car condition update. Right, so I'm fairly happy. I always just go the middle one on this. It doesn't really matter what you answer. The middle one always makes them happy. Vettel gets a little morale boost. Ricciardo blitzes opposition and a scouting report finished on Oliver Rowland. He's not going to get anywhere in this game. So what have we got coming up? I think we've got a politics vote coming up. Spec front wings coming up in a day or two. Let's just get to that first. Actually, let's just have a look here. Have we actually finished upgrading all these parts that we wanted to? All these epic gearboxes and everything. We have actually finished upgrading now, haven't we? So we're a long way in front here. Look at this, a 1216, a 1165. Brakes, engine, gearbox is going to be somewhere around this hopefully once we get it built. I'm going to see what this gearbox comes out at. Politics vote now. It's going to be for spec front wings, I think. Obviously, we don't really want that, but we're going to abstain anyway. Just keep votes. I always like to abstain and just see which way we get. Just let the computer decide which way we're going. Possibly are going to go against it. 4, 5, 6. So voted against. We're not going to have spec front wings next season. So now we can move ahead and see what we're at with this new gearbox that we've done, which is an epic part. It's a 1165 now as well. For no. What am I doing? It's a 1032 that we can get to a 1117. But obviously now we can build another gearbox, can we? We've only got a couple of races left. Should we just build one front wing and a rear wing and leave it at that for the season? So we can do another, we can get a plus 50 on that as well, so we can do pretty well with the front wing as well. So let's build that one as well. So we just need to set our mechanics to work on this new gearbox of ours. Will be done 12 days after the race. So yeah, so now we can go ahead and get to Melbourne, and we'll come back when we've done practice again. Obviously Schumacher is going to be doing practice again. He'll probably be doing practice as well to the end of the season, and he'll possibly taking Perez's seat in practice as well all of next season, just to get him the necessary experience. But we'll come back again when it's time for Melbourne. Right, so Schumacher's second practice session there, 6th again, right about where we would be expecting him. Vettel, surprisingly quite a bit slower than all the other cars there, although as we've come to expect, practice doesn't indicate usually too much of where we're going to be at qualifying. Last time I thought we were going to be a lot slower than Mercedes, and we ended up on pole anyway. This time we were slower than both the Mercedes and the Red Bull, even with Vettel. So let's just see what we can do in qualifying here, and we'll come back when we're about to set those flying laps. Right, so it's first qualifying lap going now. Raikkonen in front as usual, and let's just see what we can get here out of this first lap. Raikkonen not that much slower than Vettel here. Over this weird little bump, it's got some really high inclines. Look, we've got a nice look up this massive hill here around here in Melbourne. So what does Raikkonen do? Raikkonen does a 137.8. Vettel does a 137.3. So quite a bit slower than the Red Bull of Ricciardo there. So it looks like we're pretty slow around Melbourne here. We're only a tiny bit in front of the Williams as well. Verstappen goes even quicker than Ricciardo in the Red Bull. Hamilton, let's try and get on Hamilton. He's set the quickest first sector, quickest second sector. Coming up the hill now. Is Hamilton going to get pole? Hamilton goes quickest with a 136.5. And where's Rosberg now? Let's just try and get on Rosberg, see where he's going to be. Looks like Rosberg's possibly going to be 4th here. Looks like he can get in front of Vettel, yeah. So we're quite a bit slower around this track for some reason. Whether that's to do with our front wing and rear wing not being as good as our engine and gearbox setup that we currently have. Who knows? I didn't take the time out to look beforehand at this track to see what was stronger. But hopefully we can improve on that when we do our second qualifying lap. And we'll come back and see if we can improve on 5th and 6th in a moment. Right, so here we go with that all-important last qualifying lap. Hopefully we can improve on 5th and 6th here. We do need to pull something out of the bag. Raikkonen actually slower in the first sector there. Vettel though quicker in that first sector, so hopefully Vettel's going to be able to improve here. Although it looks like we're a little bit stuck behind the Force India here. Although it doesn't really too matter since the last patch came out. Vettel's still quicker in the second sector. Although it looks like he's possibly going to go slower in the last sector here. But Raikkonen's coming across the line. Raikkonen is actually being pushed down to 7th there as Bottas actually goes quicker than him. So Raikkonen pretty disappointing in qualifying. Vettel meanwhile manages to get ahead of Rosberg. A pretty decent last lap there. Going quicker all around. Not quicker than the Red Bulls. Has Verstappen finished as well? Verstappen's actually done his lap. Ricciardo. Rosberg is coming around. Rosberg's actually going to go quicker. So it looks like Rosberg's going to get that 4th place back. Rosberg actually goes up into 3rd in front of Ricciardo. So we're 5th and 7th here. That's not the best qualifying session. We've been down here before, and I think we did go on to win the race with Vettel. But this finally is a challenging race for us here at Melbourne. Might be a little bit hard for us here, as tyre wear is going to be a problem because... Let's just set the bonuses. We're going to go medium with Raikkonen as we usually do. If we want to one-stop this race, which is what I think the AI is going to do, we can't do it on a super soft and a soft. That will get us through 14 laps. We could just about do it on a super soft and a medium, but it would be a real stretch and we would have to really conserve the tyre, especially this medium one towards the race. But I've got a feeling that is what the computer's going to do. So we're going to have to try and do that as well. Yeah, Raikkonen can just about do it, super soft and then the medium. He's suddenly caught up somehow. He used to wear through the tyres a lot quicker than Vettel, but recently it's more even. They seem to have the same readouts before the race now. So we need to push to get some temperature in the tyres from the start. Hopefully we can get this super soft through. Possibly 6 laps for Raikkonen. Try and go 1 lap longer than that with Vettel. Let's just see how it goes. Just hope we can get a little bit closer to the Mercedes here. Otherwise they're going to close that little bit of a gap that we do have. This could actually end up going right down to the wire here at the end of the season. So Vettel away pretty well there, gets ahead of Ricciardo, does have the inside line, as does Raikkonen. Raikkonen now forced out onto the outside, but gets a nice little boost over Ricciardo. He's got ahead of Bottas. He's going to end up getting ahead of Vettel. Don't get too close to each other, you two. Don't want them smashing each other. Going 3 wide down this straight here. Raikkonen and Vettel powering past Hamilton there. And these Raikkonen and Vettel are so close to each other. They're going to hit each other again, aren't they? No, Vettel now pushing ahead. Maybe we should... let's just turn Raikkonen down so he doesn't get too close to Vettel here. We don't want them hitting each other. So up the hill now. Hamilton actually gets past Raikkonen because we turned him down because we didn't want him to get too close to Vettel. Though we still really need some heat in these tyres, don't we? They're really slow at the moment. Rosberg really try to make this super soft pair last. That he's got on. Obviously he's got the luxury of doing that because he's holding Verstappen up at the moment. Right, so the safety car's coming into the pits now. We're about to restart this race. We're behind Ricciardo. Obviously we've got Hulkenberg in front, which might give us an opportunity to get past Ricciardo. But as at the start of the race, it looks like Raikkonen's being challenged by Bottas. But Raikkonen does well at holding on. He's challenging with Ricciardo now. I don't think we're going to be able to move up here. Oh, to say that we're going to get round the outside of Ricciardo here. We are on the quicker tyre that we are trying to heat up. I don't know if it's got enough life in it to get through to the end of the race. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we can get past Hulkenberg here. Because thankfully the Mercedes not doing too well. 5th and 7th here. Although they could potentially move up as they are on a quicker tyre than the Red Bull. Who knows? Hopefully they don't improve too much, because with Vettel out of the race we do need Raikkonen to finish as far up as possible. Hopefully he can hold on to 3rd place. It's just a matter of whether we can make these tyres hold on enough. We've got 3 laps after this remaining. So it looks like this tyre is going to get through to the end of the race. It looks like Verstappen's going to get his first win this season. It looks like Red Bull might have the chance to pass Mercedes here. I don't know how far behind they are Mercedes in the points. But Ricciardo is going to get to pull away in 2nd in the driver's standings, away from Hamilton a little bit. It doesn't look like Raikkonen's going to be able to get past Hulkenberg here. Looks like this could be how it finishes. With tyre is getting pretty low. It's not heating up at all. Especially with the temperature in Melbourne being 5 degrees at the moment. Rosberg has actually got past Ricciardo here. It looks like Hamilton could do that as well. Hamilton on the quicker tyre. Raikkonen coming under pressure from Rosberg as well. And this tyre is going to get pretty worn towards the end of this race. Although we've got a little bit of a gap now. That should see us be able to hold on for this last lap. Should we try run it in conserve mode so it doesn't go below? We don't want it to go below 20% here, although it is gonna towards the end of this lap. Come on, Raikkonen, you can hold on. You can hold on, Raikkonen, come on. Keep these Mercs at bay. And Ricciardo, you keep Hamilton at bay as well. Come on, no! No, no, no! Starting to fall behind now. We're going to lose a place to Ricciardo as well as these tyres start to fall away. Are we going to lose it? Are we going to lose it? Ricciardo and Hamilton go flying up on the outside. Raikkonen goes back into his favourite 6th position just as the tyres wear away on the last few corners there. We couldn't hold on to that super soft right until the end. So that now possibly gives the Mercs quite a few points over us. What does it give us? What does it give them? 15 and 7. Great. Could have potentially halved the distance here. Let's quickly go see. Let's quickly go see. Scrutineering complete. Raikkonen 8. No, it's a lot. What was I saying? Right, so it's 25 to our 8. Ricciardo, Hamilton, Vettel was confirmed champion in the last race, so he's under no pressure. Look at that, the Mercedes now within 27 points of us with 2 races to go. So nearly all of that massive lead that we had has nearly been wiped out here. It's going to be nail biting. It's going to be really close as we get to the end of the season. The Mercedes really pulling back here. That it is going to go down to the wire. It is going to go down to the last race of the season. It's this championship. There's no way that we can be confirmed champions before the last race of the season. So it is all going to be decided at the last race of the season. We actually lost money there because we didn't finish third or above in qualifying or in the race. It looks like since we haven't been upgrading this year's car, since I wanted to make it a little bit of a challenge, this is the point that I wanted to get to, where we were going into the last 2 races. We've got Sao Paulo and we've got Abu Dhabi. It's going to be a tight-knit affair going into the last 2 races of the season. We've got Marciello here. He's not as good as I was hoping. I was wanting to get Marciello maybe as a reserve driver once Schumacher got the number 2 seat, although we're possibly going to go with Charles Leclerc there. Daniel de Jong. Not decent at all in this game. Right, so it is really going to go down to the wire here. Just 27 points. Red Bull as well within 57 points. They mathematically still do have a chance at the title, although 57 points is too far behind at the moment. Max Verstappen actually passed Kimi Raikkonen as well with his win in the driver's standings. So Raikkonen into his favourite 6th position, we shall see. How many times did he finish 6th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. So that's not too bad. I thought he'd finish 6th a few more times than that. Right, so yeah, it's going to be interesting when we come back for Sao Paulo for the Grand Prix. Let's just see if we can keep ahead of Mercedes. But if you're not already subscribed and you want to subscribe and see how we can manage to keep going in front of Mercedes, who have been making some giant strides recently in clawing back all those points, then hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. But until next time, I will see you down the road in Brazil, and goodbye.